Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking RV Tech. I'm your host, Dave Solberg, along with Dustin Simpsons from California RV Specialists. And today we're going to talk about lithium batteries and do you really need them? Now, Dustin has brought along Zach, one of his specialist technicians out there. And Zach does an awful lot of work with customers looking for new lithium batteries. Now, last week we talked about lead acid batteries. We got a little bit on the technical side of it. And I wanted to just touch base on, first of all, the different batteries that are available to people currently out there. And what happens, Dustin, you see this all the time, is somebody grabs a lead acid battery and they don't take care of it. And all of a sudden it comes in and it looks like a couple beach balls that are out there. In fact, I've got a slide here. I'm going to bring this up. This was out of a 2015 Thor, and this was not the original battery setup because you can see the tray in the front. So this probably came with 4 6-volt lead acid batteries hooked in series, and this thing was in such bad shape. And so, the question is a lot of people get so fed up with these lead acid batteries that they say, well, I'm done with them. I'm just going to put in lithium. That's the hot button. And, without doing a little bit of research and understanding how you use an RV, you might spend thousands of dollars for something you'll never use. So Dustin, what do you typically see when somebody comes in with battery issues like this one here?
So just basic battery knowledge. Nobody's ever took the time to explain to them what maintenance is required, how often they should be checking the water levels, how often they should be cleaning the terminals or checking them to see if they're tight, even cleaning the top of the batteries. So like in this example, you can see the surface of the batteries are dirty and the terminals are dirty and they're also swollen. So that's just a clear indicator that they weren't being serviced. So they depleted the water levels from use, and that could have been used from just being plugged in all the time and they didn't know that they needed to check the water on it. They didn't know they needed to, cycle the batteries.
Yep. Yeah. These batteries were bone dry.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of ironic because if you look close at the cells, there's 3 cells on the top and they have what's called a quick disconnect. It's just a little slider level. So instead of taking each individual cap off, you just click these 2 bars together and you're supposed to be able to just look at it right away. And that's the biggest thing that I see is instead of jumping right into lithium batteries, you need to understand how you RV, how much power you need. And, lead acid batteries will work really well if you take care of them. So what do you recommend for maintenance on lead acid?
Well, it depends on how they're using it. So it depends on if they're a full timer or if they're just a weekend warrior guy just going to go out, a couple times a year. If you're living in it, for example, say full time, my advice to the consumer is once a month, unplug the shore power, turn on all the lights and fans, and pretend like you're dry camping. Let the batteries deplete for 3 to 4 hours. Don't kill it because you never want to run a lead acid battery below 50% of its charge. But cycle them, exercise them, run them down, check the water level on them, plug them back in, and let them charge back up. And so that's kind of if you're full timing it. If you're not full timing, same thing. If the unit's in storage, we know that the batteries are going to deplete. They say 4% on average per week. So if it's in storage for a month, you may be depleting your battery by 20%. So, same thing. If you have a solar or you don't have a solar, it's a good idea to exercise those batteries, use them, take it home, pick it up every couple months, take it home, plug it in, charge it up, drain them down, charge it back up, cycle them. And then the water, obviously the person that lives in it full time needs to be checking them monthly. The person that's not in it full time, I would say every 2 to 3 months in the summer, maybe every 4 months in the winter.
Okay. So, a lot of people get frustrated with the battery. They don't check the water. They don't store them properly. They sulfate, like this one here. So they say, yeah, I'm going to buy lithium and because I don't have to take care of them. I don't have to do anything. And then we just had a question come here from Scott, and I'm going to touch on that here in just a second. But so I wanted to ask Zach, is that true? Is there absolutely no maintenance or worry free with lithium?
No. Even though they're, whether it's AGMs or lithiums or whatever, they boast themselves as maintenance free. what they're really talking about is checking fluid levels and things like that. You don't have that normal pop top maintenance that you have to do. You still need to check connections for corrosion. You need to still cycle the batteries. You can't just let the stuff sit. Regardless of what the battery is and how they're made, they're designed to transfer ions between one plate to the other. If you let them sit stagnant, whether it's on charge all the time or not, the opposite plate is going to sulfate, and then you're not allowed, to create that chemical reaction between the batteries. And that's this question that comes up. I use lithium batteries. As soon as the temperature drops, they can't produce. I mean, they have their things that go on with them, and you have to know what you're getting into. Lithium batteries, that's one of the things is heat related issues. A lot of like Battleborns and other things, they offer them to be heated and stuff. You have to know that. People just automatically jump into it like you're talking about, when that may not be exactly what that person needs.
Right. Well, and that's something, when lithium first came out, and we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I wanted to cover on Scott's topic here. Everybody, I think the Class C's were probably, or B's, the vans were the first ones to come out with lithiums, because everybody was boondocking and dry camping with those, and they were running the roof air conditioners and all this stuff. So lithiums that was the automatic. We're going to put in lithiums without any investigation or anything. And I remember Winnebago had horrible problems with the units that were sitting out on the lot, because once it got below freezing, then that lithium battery, you can ruin it unless you have some kind of heating system. And we'll get into quality lithium batteries at some point in time. But if you're going to do any type of cold weather camping, that lithium battery needs to stay above freezing. And otherwise you can ruin the battery, or if it has a battery management system in it, it'll shut the battery completely off. And so now all of a sudden there's nothing out here. And I brought this picture up here because this is an Expion 360 brand battery, and it does have a battery management system in it. But if you'll notice the wrap around that, and this is a battery we put into that Thor because it will be doing some cold weather camping. And that heater then keeps that battery up, to a point where it will still take a charge and it will still give you the amp hours that you're looking for. So that's something that is very important, to do that. So let's back up here just a little bit. I want to go through the different types that you have. So when we start looking at what's the right battery for you, and Scott's come back and he went to AGM batteries. 12 volt AGMs, he says that they're the best source. So you start off, you get lead acid batteries, and you talk to a lot of battery manufacturers out there, and lead acid batteries will do wonderful for you. It's just maintenance, and they're going to gas, so when you charge that battery up, you're going to get some boiling of that. And depending on your converter, of course, the typical converter will just do 13.6 till the battery's charged, and then drop to 13.2. If you have a multi-stage charger, you have a large inverter, those will do up to 16 volts to break up that sulfation. Then you get more gassing. So it's got to be in a vented compartment. That means it's going to be cold, where you're putting it at. The next one then is AGM battery, and that's completely sealed. I think, Zach, you talked on that. I know you guys carry Interstate, and you've got what kind of batteries do you have in the Interstate?
So in the store, I actually only carry typical pop top flooded batteries and sealed flooded batteries. I don't carry any AGMs or lithiums in stock. I order them as I need them. It really depends. If the customer comes in and wants something specific, we'll go that route. A lot of times we're either selling the Go Power, the Sun cycle batteries, or the Expions, as you showed in the thing there. Those are probably, in my opinion, two of the best on the market.
Okay, good.